there's something a lot of guys get wrong, in my opinion, when it comes to getting in shape and improving their health. So a lot of guys tend to believe that they have to do more, fill their schedule, add more to their already busy plate, okay? But this couldn't actually be further from the truth. What a lot of guys need to start thinking about is actually subtraction. What can we take away? What are the things that are actually harming our progress, rather than what more do I have to actually add to an already chaotic life? Okay, so let's look at things through the lens of nutrition, first of all. Something that, you know, the majority of people to some level struggle with. Okay, so you take a guy, average guy, thinking, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna get in shape. You know, you start to hear them talk about, you know, I need to meal prep, I need to spend all this time preparing the perfect diet, you know, and I need to have the time to actually stick to this approach. All right, this is a false belief that you have to do all of this stuff to get a good result. Okay, so first of all, you do not need more time to eat less food. Okay, most people struggle with overeating, and like, just put it simply, you do not need more time to eat less. That is the first false belief, that you need more time to actually successfully, you know, diet and get lean. You just don't. You need less time, you know what I mean? You do not need more time. Like, that's just the reality of it. And the second thing is believing you have to meal prep. All right, this is just absolute bullshit. You do not need to meal prep ever to get in shape. Some people like doing it, that's fine. It can save some people money, that's fine. But you do not need to do it to get in shape. All right, like, go out and about, go anywhere, and there's now choices everywhere, healthy choices you can make no matter where you go. Go into supermarkets, you can always get high protein, low calorie foods very, very easily. I mean, I don't even need to list the examples. It's literally everywhere. Things have improved massively in terms of availability of high protein, low calorie, healthy food choices. You know, even like takeaway restaurants, fast food restaurants, like, they do low calorie, high protein options. Okay, so that excuse needs to die. That is such a false belief that you need to meal prep. You need to always have this perfect nutrition with you in your backpack, like you're some sort of fucking camel going across the desert, and you need to have all your fucking stores of water and stores of food with you so you don't die on your travels. Okay, you don't need to bring a bunch of stuff with you. You just don't. Okay, you can more than easily eat healthy on the go. It just takes a little bit of thought when you're in there. When you're in the shop, just be like, okay, I'm going for low calorie, high protein option. Just have a look at some stuff and make a better choice. All right, it's really not that hard. It's very, very simple. So you need to drop that excuse, because it's just simply not real. And the other thing to think about is training. Okay, so a lot of guys believe I need to train 6 to 7 days a week in the gym, long sessions, to get good results. This is just factually untrue. Okay, you can get amazing results. You can get the optimal results you want training 2 to 3 times a week. Okay, you can. You can get amazing results on 2 sessions per week, 2 full body sessions. You hit every muscle group, you hit the main compound movements, you train hard, you get the most out of those sessions, and then you recover really well because you're not training all the time. If you're training hard every day, are you actually training hard any day? Absolutely not. And this false belief, I think, comes down to, just old ideas of, needing to follow like a bro split, single muscle group per day, this kind of thing, or just feeling like you're using training to like burn calories, which is not the viewpoint you should have on training. You should use training to get stronger, improve performance. Like, training is not for burning calories, okay? We use nutrition to create a calorie deficit, and we get steps in. If we need to burn extra calories, you need to not see training as a way to burn calories and just see it as a way to improve strength, improve performance, all right? Because at the end of the day, that's going to be what gets you a better physique, all right? And if you fall into the trap of, using training as a calorie burner, one, the calories that your watch said you burned are very, very inaccurate. The calories that you actually do burn when training are pretty damn minimal for the amount of effort it takes. So it's just not a good tool to actually burn calories. So you need to stop seeing training through that lens. Treat it as a tool for performance, strength, muscle growth, and then you can live a life outside the gym. You don't have to be there every single day. Like, personally, I only hit the gym 2 to 3 times a week. My sessions are hard. I'm getting in there, I'm getting the work done, and the results come in. The results come in because I give myself plenty of rest and recovery. I eat well out with, sleep well out with. And it's the stuff you do outside the gym that actually gets you the results from the work you put in while you're in there. So if you're training all the time, you're probably not actually training that hard. Probably just going in there doing fluff workouts, doing junk volume, getting a wee pump on, telling yourself that you've done something good, when in reality, are your lifts improving? Are you getting stronger? Are you performing better? If the answer is no, then you're probably just showing up too much and just doing a lot of junk. So you can probably reduce that massively and get more bang for your buck out of fewer sessions. Third thing as well to look at, okay, so we've looked at nutrition, we've looked at training. Let's look at, recovery, sleep. A lot of guys struggle with sleep, A lot of guys struggle with sleep. They're getting 5-6 hours in a night, and it's just not good enough for optimal health. Hormone levels, energy, building muscle, losing fat. It's just going to drain your willpower, man. It's going to drain your willpower, and just make your diet really, really hard to stick to. It's going to make training really, really rough. If you're not well recovered, you're not going to build as much muscle, you're not going to have as much testosterone, you're not going to recover, and you're just going to feel like a bag of crap. So sleep, what do you have to subtract so that you can get better sleep? One of the main things that gets people is scrolling on their phone late at night. Okay, this is the only thing I'm going to really touch upon with sleep. I could chat about sleep all day, but I'm going to keep it kind of short. So I think this is actually one of the main things. Guys go to bed with their phone. They lie in bed, doom scrolling for hours on end where they should be sleeping. So their time in bed could technically be 8 to 9 hours, but the actual sleep they're getting is only 5 to 6 hours, because they're literally just lying there wasting their time watching all hordes of absolute dog shit online. And here's the question: do you really need to be on your phone in bed? Do you really need to be on your phone in bed? The answer is obviously no. So you can completely subtract that out of your life by just using this one tip. Set your alarm on your phone, put it in another room, or put it at the other side of your room so you literally cannot access it in bed. Your bed, your sleep environment should be a sacred place. Sleep is the greatest asset you can have in your entire life. It's going to allow you to operate with better energy. You're going to have better days. So, when you're sleeping less, sure, you might have more time in the day, but the time in the day that you have is going to be of a lower quality. So I would rather have less time in the day, but have a higher quality of life. All right, and honestly, the stuff like doom scrolling in bed and stuff like that, it's just depressing. It's just sad. We do not need it in our life. So set an alarm, put your phone in another room, or put it at the other side of your room. If you're in a flat share or something like that. And yeah, honestly, your life will change for the better just from that one simple habit. And if you need something to do in bed, read a fucking book. Read a book, or I don't know. Another thing that I actually do sometimes is I throw on a podcast, but I have the podcast playing through my iPad, through my earpods, because who's scrolling on an iPad? It's not the same. It's not the same sort of distraction as a phone. You can just put the iPad in the corner and then fall asleep to a podcast. We do not need to be scrolling while in bed. Bed is a sacred place where we recover physically, emotionally, and set ourselves up for an amazing next day. So yeah, let's just kind of recap on that. We've got your training. Most guys believe they need to train loads. It's just simply not true. You really don't need to train and waste that amount of time in the gym. 2 to 3 sessions a week. Subtract all the bullshit. Just go in, get the bang for your buck exercises in, get strong, build muscle, make use of the recovery time out with, and live your fucking life. Alright, number 2, nutrition. Okay, we do not need more time to eat less. We just don't. Most guys struggle with carrying way too much body fat, so stop using time as an excuse. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And yeah, meal prep, all of that complicated shit, we don't need it. We don't need it. There's access to healthy, fairly cheap food literally everywhere if you open your eyes. Okay, so that false belief has to die. Then we've got sleep. All right, willpower is going to be in the absolute bin if you don't get good sleep. So forget about the doom scrolling at night. Stop bringing your phone to bed like a baby that needs a pacifier. Put it in another room, set an alarm. Protect your biggest asset in life, which is rest and recovery, and your life will improve massively. All right, so people want to overcomplicate all this stuff. They want to overcomplicate all of this stuff, and honestly, I believe guys try and overcomplicate it in their head as a scapegoat for not doing it, because it's actually so much more simple than you think. You've probably just been following a system that doesn't work for you when actually stress tested through life. I don't know where a lot of guys have kind of got this concept of having to train every day and do meal prep and all of this bullshit, but I do think it's partially through bodybuilding and the influence bodybuilding has had on the fitness industry. And in reality, most guys aren't fucking bodybuilders or have aspirations to become professional bodybuilders, so we don't have to do that shit at all, okay? If you're just a normal guy who wants to be leaner, be really strong, have good performance levels, have high energy levels, feel good, look good, drop all that outdated stuff because it's just not necessary whatsoever. And if you want help, like installing a system that works, where you're actually training less, you're eating the foods you actually enjoy on a daily basis, you have that food freedom, but you can still, lose the fat, build the lean muscle, and you want to improve your general lifestyle habits so you feel healthy, more energized, and just generally more switched on, and just, you're not falling for all this bullshit that you have to be, perfect and training 7 days a week and meal prepping and all this bullcrap. Like, if you want a system that actually works for just normal guys who want to optimize their life, then, you know, shoot me a wee message. You can follow me on Instagram, shoot me a wee message, drop me a comment below, and yeah, let's have a chat. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments.